Dad Watches The Bachelor. I'm Meredith, and I'm here with my co-host, my dad.
Good morning, Meredith. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It was hard to get through this week's episode, which was not a normal episode. It was the Men Tell All, where they bring back all these dopey fellows and they get close to strangling one another.
Yeah, at least, we podcast on Wednesdays. This, for whatever reason, was on Monday night, which is not what we're used to. And it was from 9 to 11, so I did not watch it live. I decided to give myself, some time off, the ability to skip through the commercials, and it was still painful without commercials.
Agreed. I was watching it. I watched on Monday night. I was a little behind, so I didn't have to watch all the commercials. But yeah, it was not time well spent. But we can try to point out. I found a couple of highlights, a lot of lowlights, and we can make some interesting observations, perhaps.
Well, before we get into that, a quick housekeeping note from Bachelor Nation. You know how a couple weeks ago I told you that they were planning on doing back-to-back Bachelor seasons?
I think so, yes.
Well, ABC has put the axe to the back-to-back Bachelor seasons, which, I think that they listened to us, heard that we didn't really want that. So they're no longer doing that. We're going to have Clayton's season, and now ABC's currently casting for a season of The Bachelorette to start filming in March, which is going back to our regular schedule. Things are getting normal over here again.
So I know that Clayton's season starts on January 3rd.
Correct.
Which is not that far away. It's not like we're going to get a long break between this season and Clayton's season. And then in March, they're coming back with a Bachelorette season?
In March, they'll start filming it.
Oh, they start filming it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So usually we get a Bachelorette season towards the end of May. We get it in the summer. So we're going to get, around a 2.5 month break in between Bachelor and Bachelorette, it seems like.
Sounds good. I look forward to that.
Yes, it'll be nice. But we don't have a break now. We've got to dive into the Men Tell All and all of the manufactured drama that came with it.
And isn't that the question? In that, I guess when you and I started watching this show, I was naive. Maybe you were not. I don't know. And you would always try to figure out how much of this might be real and how much of this is driven by producers or, as you would say, manufactured. And there was some weird stuff going on during this show that we can talk about. But perhaps my biggest highlight is, hey, don't tell Olu that he has a low IQ because he will come at you. And he was ready to strangle Chris, and I loved it. So Olu got a little bit hot. Chris is kind of a jerk, and I don't know about you. I don't think you want to mess with Olu.
No, Olu seems like he could, demolish anyone in his path. And that man has a master's degree.
So I've heard. He was happy to tell us about that. Yeah. Maybe Clayton could take Olu, but other than that, I think that would be a battle of the Titans. But Chris wanted no part of that.
Chris didn't want any part of much of the Men Tell All. He didn't have much to say. He didn't want to comment on many things.
And then we have the continued beef between Chris and Will.
Peter and Will?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Peter the pizzapreneur.
Yes.
And Will, thank you for correcting me, which at one point somebody comes in and serves Will with a subpoena for, we assume, writing bad reviews about Peter's Pizza?
Yeah, for personal defamation.
Whatever that may be. Manufactured real, but ridiculous. Yeah, so that was out there. And we also have a streaker.
That was definitely manufactured.
Okay. I certainly hope so. It didn't look like...
no one seemed too concerned about him.
Call security, baby. Come on.
Well, one of my highs were the zingers that we were getting I guess really that Will was sending to Peter. You know, he told Peter that if he really wanted to promote his pizza business, he should have gone on Shark Tank, not The Bachelorette. He told Peter to tell his sister to stay out of his DMs. Apparently, Peter's sister has been messaging Will. We don't know the context of that or the subject, but you know, there were some funny little zingers in there that I think those were the few things that gave me a laugh during the episode.
Peter does not seem to take criticism or zingers very well. And I think we saw that during the show where he trashed poor Will's flight jacket, and he seems to have some maturity issues.
Yeah, it's just, this is old news. We don't care about this beef anymore. We've moved past it. We care about Nate versus Joe. Brandon, we don't care about you either. This is what's really going on here. We don't need to keep backtracking to this silly drama that we've pushed out of our lives.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think I've exhausted any highlights that I had.
I have two more. One, I enjoyed watching all the guys gang up on Jamie because I think Jamie blows chunks. He sucks. And I don't enjoy him at all. And so it was kind of nice to see all these guys that had been fighting the whole episode come together against a common enemy.
Okay. And Jamie seems unable to answer any questions in a definitive type way. He
seems very political.
He should definitely be in politics. I agree.
I like how he starts every answers well, I think there are two things behind this. There are three things driving this.
And then we get eye rolls from everybody, both in the audience and the other men, saying, we have to listen to this guy jabber on again.
Mm-hmm. My only other high was that I enjoyed the butter sculptures that we got to see. You know, a clip from that farm group date. And I liked Nate's commentary on everyone's sculptures. And everyone seemed to have pretty bad butter sculptures, which, to be fair, I think that you and I would not have the best sculpture if we were given a 90-pound block of butter. But I thought that was amusing.
I'm shocked that no one sculpted a penis, but maybe they just didn't show that to us.
Blake Moynes isn't on this season.
Okay.
All right, that's my highs.
Well, you had more than me.
My lows, this is a big one. Romeo jumping on the bleached hair bandwagon. This was a bad move for me.
You're not pro bleached hair, at least for men?
I think, well, you know, that the bleached top that we had going on with Martin and one other guy, I think I was very vocal throughout this season how much of a bad look it was. And then Romeo does it too. I don't know much about Romeo, but I think he's the one that went to Harvard, and I think he's smarter than that.
Okay. All right. I'm an old guy, I'm just trying to take in, these days with the bleached top, that seems rather insignificant compared to all the tattoos and various things people have all over the place. So I'm not that worked up over that, but okay.
Okay. My other low, I don't even know if this is a low or not, but I think I recognized less than half of the men that were at the Men Tell All. I have no idea who a majority of those guys were. They told us the names, still didn't ring a bell. Were these men on the season?
And I get the sense there were other men on the season for a very short period of time that didn't even make it to this show.
Well, usually we don't need the guys that went home night 1, night 2, night 3, and it seemed like we had a lot of them, supposedly, because I don't remember these guys.
I'm with you. Why are we doing this? We're just selling more Verizon phones or whatever. I think it's all just for the ads. And
my last low. This is actually a sad one. Tayshia talking about her breakup with Zach. She really didn't give us much information. She told us that she's heartbroken and that they tried really hard and she still loves him. But this is a true American tragedy.
And I also had this as a low just because of the way the whole thing was presented, where Caitlin says, we have to stop here and take this road to nowhere and sort of see what's going on with Tayshia, which I'm sure I won't say it's manufactured. I sort of assume it's in the script to some degree of we're going to talk about this. Um, and Tayshia gets very emotional, and that's certainly her prerogative, and ultimately cries and has to leave the show for a little bit of time. So I don't know what to make of this. It just sort of felt like a sore thumb sticking out of a sore whatever. The whole body seems broken at this point in time, but I didn't really see how this fit in with everything. Tayshia seemed like a nice person. We enjoyed her when it was her season. Thought she did a good job. We wish her the best, and whether it's with Zach or some other person, we wish her the best.
Yeah, I don't think that she was necessarily ready to talk about it. She didn't seem like she was ready to talk about it based off how emotional she got and having to take a break from hosting to pull herself together. But neither Zach nor Tayshia had made any statement about their breakup. And so it was understood that we were going to get Tayshia talking about it for the first time on the Men Tell All, which was really the only reason I wanted to watch the Men Tell All. And I was a little disappointed by the lack of statement that we got from her. But, hopefully as we move on, maybe we can get a little bit more into what happened with them. Were they okay during the marathon? Did the marathon pull them apart? Who knows?
And you're speaking of they both ran in the New York City Marathon.
Yes.
So, which I think that you also reported that they were screaming at one another, or maybe Zach was screaming at Tayshia during the marathon.
There had been rumors that Zach might have been yelling at her to go faster or
run faster.
Yeah, I mean, I already said it before. Exercising together in a relationship like that is just you're asking for trouble.
Well, as some early dad advice, it's okay to go for walks and modest hikes with your significant other, but if you're going to get into serious cardio, that can be an issue.
Yeah, I don't think that Tayshia signed on to be the Bachelorette because she really wanted to marry a guy that would force her to run a marathon.
Now, I wonder if Michelle's listening to my advice, and that to me, her attraction to Joe seems more athletic, but we'll
still
see.
Think that's a better choice than our player boy Nate.
Anyway, I'm concerned by our Clayton preview when it comes to lowlights, in that we get a lot of kissing. He appears to be in love with lots of different girls, lots of drama. And it's happening too quickly. I wish I had a little more time off. This starts on January 3rd. So sometime over the holidays, I suspect you and I will be reviewing Bachelorettes and getting into that mess.
Yeah. The Clayton season, he seems like he's already really stepped in it as the lead. You don't tell multiple people you love them. If you sleep with multiple people, you probably shouldn't tell them all at the rose ceremony, which we saw in the clip. Like, I don't think that he was on the show long enough to learn the proper procedures of being the lead.
And we'll save next season to digest and analyze this, but it seems to me when you have Fantasy Suite week with multiple people, there is a chance, and I suspect it has happened in previous seasons, where people are intimate with more than one person. So, I mean, it feels like, alarm bells and things are going off on this season or in Clayton season. We haven't seen Clayton season. We probably shouldn't even talk about Clayton season, but the whole preview just felt rather exhausting.
Well, can't wait to watch it. January 3rd, 2022. Let's go.
We're shilling for ABC now. So last low light. Totally don't buy this whole Peter and Will burying the hatchet at the end of the program after they almost punched each other in the face. Peter has somebody come in to put a court summons on Will, and now at the end they reach out and they're going to be buddies. No. Let's move along.
Peter's Pizza really brings people together. It's peace pizza.
Well, as if to prove Will's, you should have it on Shark Tank. You're only there to promote your pizza. He brings out pizza for everybody at the end just to promote his pizza. But anyway, we've given Peter away too much airtime.
I can't imagine the pizza from Florida that he's saying he brought all the way to LA is still that good.
Moving along.
Okay, my right reason is Rodney. He is such a nice guy. He stayed out of the drama of the night, still had good things to say about the experience and Michelle. And like once the episode was over, they kind of showed everyone mingling, and Rodney went up to Michelle and was so nice to her and wanted to do their little handshake again. He's just a nice guy. He was a breath of fresh air throughout the episode.
And it looked like he earned a ticket to Chlamydia Island.
Yes, I think that he probably has if he wants it.
Well, I've got two right reasons for you. Number one, the ABC censors. They were busy. There were bleeps going on all over the place, lots of bad words going on, and they seemed to keep up. So kudos to the ABC censors. And the other one, I got to tell you, I like Casey. He seems like a good guy, an honest guy, sort of the truth teller of the whole bunch, calling people out and telling people that they need to own it. So I kind of take my hat off to Casey.
Yeah, I was surprised with how much Casey that we got in the episode, and I think I would have liked more of that Casey throughout the season.
So yeah. So anyway, he seems like a good guy to me. So go Casey.
All right, my wrong reasons. This is a co-wrong reason. Between Peter, Jamie, Chris S., Will, Martin, you all suck, and I don't ever want to see you on my TV again.
And I pretty much had the same thing. I just had bad guys to begin with. There was no redemption for any of them. You know, I put Chris, Peter, Martin, Brian, Jamie. I don't need to see them anymore either. And I didn't feel like any of them, although they were all trying to apologize at the end, it all felt very hollow, and enough with them. The other wrong reason I had, somebody came from a previous season to promote Bachelor Live on stage coming soon to 40 cities near you. No, don't need that. Bad idea.
That's things. Becca Kufrin. She was a bachelorette.
I'm just telling you, we don't need that.
Yeah, I don't think that it's on my bucket list of things to see. They were doing this pre-pandemic, and I think it was pretty successful. As one of the guys mentioned on the show, our boy Brian with the notes that left night one, he was one of the bachelors on Bachelor Live. So he, is familiar with the show. But I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way for that.
I would much prefer to go to a showing of Celebrity Mystery Date, and get to see my hero, Michael Bolton. But that's me.
I think that you're making references that are too old for me.
It was the show that they were following The Bachelor on for the whole last season that's disappeared.
Was it really called Celebrity Mystery Date?
Something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Michael Bolton, Zooey Deschanel. I was fascinated.
You hated that show. You vocalized that often.
But I couldn't look away. I miss it now.
All right. Are we good with our wrong reasons?
I think we're as wrong as we can be.
Okay. My MVP, I'm giving it back to Michelle. I don't really know why. It's just she called out Jamie for being two-faced when it seemed like he was hoping she wouldn't bring anything up if he just complimented and praised her. She kind of really dug into how much he sucked. She seemed to do well in a room full of exes, and I just didn't want to give it to any of the men.
Not even Casey?
No. He didn't do enough for me.
Or Rodney?
Rodney got right reasons.
Okay. I think those are the only two guys that I might feel positively about after the show. I did
enjoy Rick when he started giving his comments and Peter tried to go against him, and he's like, Peter, no one gives a shit about what you think anymore. That was good. I wasn't expecting it from my boy Rick.
I think you could probably see Rick somewhere in the Bachelor universe showing up again at some point.
Yeah, I could definitely see Rick in Paradise. Unfortunately, I can see Peter and Will in Paradise as well. Hopefully, the ladies aren't interested in them, so we won't have to see them hang around for too long.
Well, I won't be seeing that, but I'm sure you'll report back to me.
All right. Do you have any fatherly advice to wrap us up?
The only thing I can say is, first piece of fatherly advice, don't watch this show. Don't watch the Men Tell All show. Don't watch the Women Tell All show. Yeah, that's generational advice. Don't need to do it. We've given you what you need. Don't go back and watch it. It's not a good use of your time.
That's actually some good daughterly advice that I would like to give as well. From both of us, we say you can skip this one.
Yeah, it's okay to apologize to people. You know, these guys, Jamie and Peter and Chris, they all seem to have a hard time apologizing. And you know, it's okay you got to own things at some point in time, and it's okay to say I'm sorry. So you know, let's all work on that a little bit. Let's work on apologizing. It's okay to say I'm sorry. It's okay to say I'm wrong. And what I will leave you with is advice that you have probably heard before. Maybe our listeners have as well. And it came to me as you and I were discussing, do we even need to do a podcast today with how awful the show is and the importance of consistency? And as I think I've told you before, much of success, I always say this, 50% of your success is showing up, being consistent. 40% is giving a damn and having some passion about it. And then that 10% is actually how much brains you actually have. 90% is showing up and caring. You can go a long way like that. So people, let's show up and let's care.
Yeah. And we show up and we care about The Bachelor here.
Right.
I think that's all we have for today. You know, next week we're back to our regularly scheduled Tuesdays. We've got Fantasy Suites, which is always a nice, uncomfortable episode for the two of us to talk about. And then on the 21st, we have the 3-hour finale. So exciting. You and I will be together to watch that one.
Okay. Well, let's, forget all the holiday parties. We know where we'll be.
Okay. Before we stop, I want your prediction for who goes home next week.
So one person will go home next week?
Yes.
As much as I hate to say it, I think Brandon's going home, and it ain't going to be pretty.
I concur. I think Brandon's going home as well. Next question. Do you think that Michelle will sleep with him before sending him home?
I predict that she will not.
I agree. He looks too much like a child to sleep with.
Ouch. Poor Brandon.
I think she'll need some rest after her nights with Nate and Joe.
Let's not even get into that.
Okay.
Let's thank the mesh and get out of here.
All right. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure to comment, rate, subscribe to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. We'd like to thank the mesh for hosting our podcast and for our great producer Moose for always being here to listen to us talk about The Bachelor. So join us next time. Hear about Fantasy Suites from the right reasons and my dad's.